Hi guys, welcome to my Project Pan and Pan in Every Palette update. This is filmed, it feels like, in forever, but I do not wear a lot of makeup in the summer, so I'm really happy with my progress. If you're interested in seeing how I did between this update and the last one, let's get on into it. Okay guys, so I think I'll put timestamps down below. I always start off with my Modern Renaissance. I start off with palette 1, then palette 2, then a single eyeshadow, then the pan in every palette, and then we do some percentages and we end it on looks. So I'll have timestamps down below. Let's start with my Modern Renaissance. I have been panning this. It was a year in May of 2021. Yeah, I'm kind of sick of it now, but this is the story with this. So let me just do the weights first because I tend to forget that. So the last time this palette weighed 177.29 grams and this time it weighs 176.29 grams. So I used a gram of product in here this time and I used 0.08 the last time. So I actually used more this time, thank God. So let me just show you where I was the last time. And let me show you where I am now. So I never learned because I didn't look at what this looked like the last time. I know my goal this round was to predominantly focus on this palette and my pan in every palette. So let's start with the uses and put her on the screen. So Golden Ochre, I used it 5, 10, 13 times. So use Golden Ochre 13 times. It's thin at the U-y bit and thick at the sides, but it's slow going. The two pans are empty, and then Antique Bronze, I used that 5 times. Love Letter, I used it 5, 10, 15 times. Cypress Umber, I used 12 times. The next row, Raw Sienna, is finished. And I don't know if you see this, girl, but Burnt Orange, we have hit pan, and I used it 13 times. That was my goal. Oh my God, we have pan in every shade now. Finally, this I feel is a huge victory because this means I've panned the palette. And now pan the palette means empty it. But anyway, Red Ochre is 5, 10, 15 times. Venetian Red is 5, 10, 15 times because I always wear them together. Warm Taupe is empty since before. Realgar, 5, 8 times. So I used every shade that's here in the palette. I'm so bloody happy with that. Thank God. I didn't read. So we have every shade has a pan. Yes. Somebody asked me to clean the pans just so you could see them a bit better. I tried doing that. I even used alcohol. I used a Q-tip and I used a cloth to try and clean it as best as I could. Everything that's left appears to be rust and or staining because I cannot get anything off. But anyway, I'm very, very happy we have a pan in here. That means everything has Juicy Lucy pan. It's just slow going from here on out. Like, I feel like I use Love Letter, Venetian Red and Red Ochre a lot. And I just use such a small bit to have very good pigmentation. It's just slow. Like, you know, it's slow. Anyway, that's where we are at this palette. Goals for next time. I'll round up the goals after I do the 2 palettes and I see them together, the 3. Okay. Subculture. This is the original formula that was most complained about. The Subculture weighed 189.42 and now it weighs 189. So I went down 0.42 this time and 0.16 the last time, which I'm surprised about because I said that this wasn't going to be a focus this time because I wasn't feeling these shades for the weather that we had. But anyway, let's show you where I was. Let's show you where I am now. Again, I don't know what that was meant to be. So I tried cleaning this one. I think this one cleaned up a lot better. Okay, let's go through the uses for you guys. There is no Dawn. There is no Cube. We finished that. Destiny, oh God, please tell me I used it. Where is it? Destiny. I only used Destiny the one time, which again I'm surprised because I didn't plan to. Adorn is empty. All Star I used All Star 3 times because I used it today. Mercury I hit side pan. I hit side pan. I shot the sheriff. If anyone has any suggestions of what in the name of God I can do with Mercury, I've been kind of mixing it in with a lighter shade to use it as like a contour even though I don't really feel like I want to contour, because it's pretty much black on me. It's too dark for the eyebrows, my eyebrows, and I don't really know what else to do. I tried using it as a lid shade and paired a duochrome, but for some reason it creased ferociously. Axis, sorry I went off on a rant, is I use once. The next row, Roxy, I use it 12 times. Fudge, I didn't use because it's not my focus shade. New Wave, 5 to 10. I use New Wave 10 times. Gosh, it doesn't look, I imagine it doesn't look any different. Untamed, once. Edge, I don't know if you can see, but Edge now has a dip. I used it 6 times and it has a dip, and Rowdy I used twice. That has been my liner shade. So that's pretty good going. So we have, oh Lord, I said this wrong in the last update that we had 2 pans left to hit. We had 3. Now we have 2 pans left to hit. 2 pans left to hit, and they're in this palette. Edge finally has a dip. I don't know if I can capture that. I don't think I'm too far away from pan and Edge, but I don't know am I close enough to do it this update. For single eyeshadow, I always seem to, I don't know why, but I always have a single eyeshadow in. It's always a matte cream. Don't know why, but here it is. And I'll show you where I was the last time. It is now, I didn't take a close-up of this actually, I better do it. It's now empty. It's from Makeup Revolution. It's stripped and bare. It's perfect for crease shading. Crease up to brow. I set from here up and it's fantastic. Loved it. Took 44 uses in total. That was all. That was all. From start to finish was 44 uses. Insane. But I'm delighted I have this finished. Then I rolled this shade in when I finished that shade, and I've used it 11 times. So let me just, gosh, I was not prepared. This is from a Violet Voss Ride or Die palette. I depotted the whole palette on the stuff that I wanted to keep. I'll try and show you a close-up if I can, and oh god, it's starting to shatter. There is a big juicy dip in it though already. We've got a dip, and it's nice. God, it's getting everywhere. I keep it in this JD Glow single, the JD Glow single packaging, just so it doesn't get, because I leave it on my desk and I don't want it to get everywhere. But that's the story with that. We have an empty pan leaving. I like to have things leaving. And then for pan in every palette, I have a certain number of palettes in my collection. I go through that later, and I want to hit pan in them all. So every time I roll in one, and I had the Norvina in, I think it was in for 2 months. Let me get my uses out. I'll show you where I was working on the shade Wild Child. Wild Child, and I'll show you where I am now. I hit pan in it, yay! I hit pan in it. It took 12 uses, like 12 uses in total actually to hit pan, which is very, very surprising. However, the positive thing I want to mention about this is I used every shade in here multiple times. That's the goal for my pan in every palette. My ultimate goal is to get 1 pan in every palette and then one day circle back. But the other secondary goal is to use the entire palette, not just hit pan in a shade. So the second most used shade was the shade Love. I probably used that shade 40 times in this project, probably. And there's a little bit of a dip. I even used it today. It's such a handy shade. I really enjoy all the shades in here. Soul, I finally found a way to get Soul to work, because it always looks like a bruise on me. I tap it into the crease, like I get a brush. Let me get a brush. I get a brush, like this particular brush is the Morphe M506. Tap it in and I stick it right into the crease, like right into the socket. And I just tap it there and gently smudge it. And then it doesn't, whereas if I use a fluffy brush and go over and back, it's like a bruise. Whereas that way it doesn't. But I'm so happy about this palette because I've been using it. And even when I hit pan, I continued to use it. I like all the shades in here, they're all lovely. I'm really happy with this palette, and I believe this is kind of one of my only shades that is like this in my collection, so that's why I've been leaving it out to use with my Modern Renaissance. But this palette is now being put back into my collection. Then the next palette I want to roll in its place is the Birdie. I'm trying to be strategic because I have predominantly reds to work on, so I'll roll in this, and then when it gets a bit colder, like Octoberish, I'll roll in my greener palettes to go with the Subculture. But anyway, my Bye Bye Birdie from Colourpop, because I love this palette. And I haven't picked a shade yet, but I'm going to imagine it's going to be this shade here called Finch. I really I really, really like this palette. So I said, you know what? It goes with my Pan That palette and I enjoy it. There is 2 Super Shock shades. I like both. This shade here is a little bit crumbly. Sorry, this shade on a wing is a little bit crumbly. 2 glitters. I'm a person who actually likes glitters. And this shade here, I could start using. It's a matte with glitters, which I really don't like. But anyway, the glitters don't often show up. So I'm going to try and use this in my crease. Let me just swatch it. It's a bit dry. To see will it work in place of Love. I think it will. And then this is the shade that I'm going to try and hit pan on, I think. I'll just use the palette first and see. Because I do like all the shades. And then I want to make sure I'm using the whole palette. But that shade I'll be using anyway. It's just whichever pan I hit first is the goal. And I'm really happy about this. So happy! Let me just swatch these Super Shocks. Let me just swatch them for you. Must be crazy. Can you see them from all the way over there? Come over here! That shade is so nice on the hand. It's like a purple with a gold shift. Stunning. It looks like a shade I frankened before. But anyway, this is the palette that I'm rolling in. Now let's get into goals. My goals, now that we have all the shadows that we're going to work on. So my goals are, I suppose I can't really have goals now that I have pans. I'm going to be working on these 3 reds because I will be using it with my pan in every palette. So again, that is my focus. And then for outer V shades, I'm predominantly working on All Star. If I can get some use out of Edge just to keep it trucking along, I will. I still, in terms of fudge, my brown focus is Antique Bronze and Cypress Umber. I tend to use Cypress Umber now as an eyeliner because I used it in the outer V the other day. And I was like, whoa, that is way too dark for what I'm really into. It ruined my look for what I liked. It looked black, which I don't remember it being that dark, but it really ruined the look. It's not really what I'm into at the moment. But anyway, that's the story with that. We hit 2 pans and we finished a single eyeshadow. So that's great. Now let's get into the figures. The last time I had 65 eyeshadow palettes, and I had 6 with pan. I made a mistake. I actually had 7 with pan. I miscalculated. But anyway, 65 palettes, 6 with pan, which meant I had a palette percentage of 9.23%. And this time I have 63 eyeshadow palettes with 8 with pan. So I went up 1 because we hit pan in the Norvina. So now I have 12.69 palette percentage, which meant I have an increase of 3.46%. So now 12.69% of my palettes have pan in it. That equates to 8 palettes, which I'm happy with because I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I decluttered 2 palettes and this palette number of 63 will increase by next month because I ordered the Meet Me in the Underworld palette from Lois Cosmetics because a lot of you actually told me to, and we know what community we're in, so if you're actually telling me to, it's unusual. It's an unusual dynamic for us to encourage me to buy something. So then I looked it up, I love the swatches, and I went for it. It was a bit expensive once it converted into euros. It was nearly 50 euros, so I feel really uncomfortable with that financial decision, actually. But I went from about, I think it was 73 to 75 palettes down to 63. So I went down 10. I'm not trying to like decrease to increase. I'm just trying to make sure I love what I have and what I have is used. But yes, that's the story with that. So expect that to be here, please God, the next time. So anyway, that is the story with that. Now let's roll in onto my looks, if there are looks. Oh my God, did I take pictures? And today's look should be in it. Woo! Okay guys, that was my Pan That palette update. I really hope that I have some progress to show the next time. I don't really know what I can show other than just slow moving progress because I have 2 pans left to hit, but at the end of the day I want to finish the things. I hope I finish them soon. I doubt it though, I just doubt it. But less is more, okay? Anyway guys, how is your usage of your eyeshadows going? Are you overwhelmed? And do you use eyeshadow as much in the summer as you would in the colder months? Or is this a me issue? Because I tend, like this week I've worn makeup twice, which is very, very unlike me. I usually wear makeup 5 to 6 times a week, but lately it's been a non-event. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you the next time. Take care, have a nice weekend or day, whatever time of the week that this is being uploaded. Take care, bye. Bye.